Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this one, you're going to follow me as we go out into the field for an afternoon of chasing light and reacting to the conditions. We end up using a mid-range lens, a telephoto lens, and an ultra-wide. We've got a variety of different scenes, and after I've done the field shooting in each segment, I'll pull up some of the raw files and talk through the thought process as well. This is just a typical type of day shooting with me. Sometimes we get stuff we keep, sometimes we don't. But the end goal is to have fun and enjoy being out in nature nonetheless. Hope you enjoy the video. Thank you for your support. Decided to stop, get the telephoto out. There's just so much atmosphere around. Initially what caught my eye was at the head of the valley here with the layering of the trees, and then there's some snow-capped peaks, but unfortunately it's just a little bit tricky. I'll show you through the lens what I'm looking at. Yeah, it's just quite tricky to bring the two worlds together. It just feels like we have a row of trees and then suddenly just the top of the mountains. They don't really blend well, so it's not quite working. So another perspective that I'm looking at, which completely opposite direction, is over on this side, and what caught my eye was right in here. Look at that lone tree just there. I'm gonna get that shot now because that looks beautiful, just framed by the mist. That's around, what are we at there, 300 mil. Just punching in at 300 and 400 mil, we have this epic side light blasting through that fog, and just the odd tree poking through. I really like shooting with the tele these moments. It's a little bit like wildlife photography. You're just reacting to the moment. 1 second it's there, and then it's gone. The fog just cleans up the forest, and then you can get that isolation and the odd, distinct tree or branch poking through. Some birds flying through now. I'll get these guys. Hopefully, I'm just shooting these, they're ducks. If we can combine these with one of the trees. Not quite. Well, I figured it might be easier to just go over the raw files here quickly and just show you what I was looking for and what I tried to do with the telephoto lens. The atmosphere was everything, and I like to try and isolate particular subject matter and remove distractions with the tele. What I was concentrating on, as I said in the video, was the trees and trying to find a specific tree to lead the eye to. So I've just got a little short selection here of frames, and the one that I think is probably the most solid is this one. This one I've cropped in as a 16:9, and I like the three predominant trees poking through the shaft of light there. There's also this frame with the birds, but unfortunately that just didn't really line up well with subject matter. Such a shame that we didn't get the birds in this one. I think that would have been absolutely epic. Really though, having the birds on the left would have worked great, because when you have a moving element, you want it to move the eye to the inner part of the frame, not out of it. So if you look at this frame, the birds are in the center, floating off to the left. When I captured the birds in the previous frames, they were in the dark trees, so it just didn't quite work, unfortunately. As I mentioned, this would probably be one that I'd look at keeping, and when we add a little bit of contrast there, I think it stands out a lot more from the others. I like the layering. I probably won't keep it. I just think it's lacking, a stronger main focal point. We've got a couple of trees, but it's really lacking the hero. Nothing wrong with that. Had a great time anyway, but I probably won't keep any of these at all. Hopefully that just gives you an idea of what I'm looking for with the telephoto lens. And after this, things got really interesting, and there's definitely something I'll be keeping. So let's go back out in the field. That's what I mean. Like I said, it's like wildlife photography. Sometimes it literally is. Now that mountain perspective, when you get conditions like this, the challenge is knowing when to move on, because there could be something just as epic around the corner. This is the best part of photography. I love these moments. But I'm very curious to see what else we can find. Sky's looking good for sunset still, so we better keep moving. Just going to let the cloud dictate which direction we face. So going to have to keep running with the spontaneity. So if you're out and you have the luxury of moving with the cloud and having multiple potential subjects, don't lock yourself in on one specific location. If the cloud is moving further one way, then face the cloud, because the cloud is going to catch the light, and that's where we'll get the color. At the moment, still not sure. I just want to see see what the sky keeps doing. We've got about an hour and a half till sunset, so plenty of time for things to change. Sometimes, unfortunately, it all just evaporates as well, or the cloud. I've got no idea what's going to happen here, but at the moment it is looking really good. Distracted again, a pleasant distraction of golden light and atmosphere in the forest. I'm going to backtrack slightly to where I saw the light coming in. The tricky part when you have nice light like this in the forest is just finding the composition. The epic light is one thing, but you still need the subject matter. We'll just walk through up here. Incredibly wet. Look at that light. Oh man. These moments are so fleeting. They don't present themselves often, and when they arrive, they depart almost as quick as they came. It's very messy, nice light, but going to be hard to find a frame that actually works here. I can see a couple of big trees, which might be good subjects. There's a lot going on though. Two big beech trees in the back there. And then there's one that's come down horizontally with that backlight and that beautiful mist getting caught in the light, but might be a bit too much going on compositionally. I just need to hold above my head now. Often I'll create an exposure and then I'll analyze it from a distance just to get the feel for the image. So we've got the two main trees, and then I did a couple of tighter frames as well. I don't think we're really doing justice. I'm curious to just move around the corner slightly and get it more of a backlight behind those trees. At the moment it's side on, so I might go through here. Going to get absolutely saturated. Just got the 28 to 75 just to pull everything in. To see the light, like the really beautiful atmospheric light, it's all about your angle. As I've moved around here now, the beams are on the other side, so it's trying to position yourself in the right perspective to the light and then align the subject matter as well. Really hard, especially when the forest is so complex. Oh, a nice series of trees back here with the sun just off to the side. The atmosphere is the composition maker. It just cleans up the background and helps your subject matter stand out. Just did a few different frames. Started off relatively tight and then slightly wider, and then went to the left just to get the rows of the trees in there. A few different compositional options. I just love that gentle light, and then I'm always looking for the subject matter. So we've got these big distinct beech trees, and just like that, the light is almost gone. Now this is, you know, we were just outside in the valley using the long lens to get the atmosphere, and I was mentioning how much it keeps changing, and then suddenly we're in here in the atmosphere getting that light, and now it's completely gone. It's that element of surprise which just keeps photography fun for me. Dance with the light. When it does something, you interact with it, and then it's gone, and that moment will never be there again. So on that note, let's get out of here and find the light again. So we made it maybe 100 meters up the road. I had to stop the car straight away, jump back in the forest. More amazing light. Very challenging to find a potential image, but the light is here, and that's what today is all about. Chasing light, that's what we're doing. Just reacting to it, and wow, this is what you want in the forest. The thing with forest photography, you might have heard me mention this in other videos, but generally side light or backlight is best. You don't want too much light in the area because it's hard to lead the eye. Generally, I'm looking for shade on my foreground and edges, and then lead the eye towards some light. It's way easier said than done, but that's what I'm doing now. Just trying to get into a bit more shade. Very tricky. Just like that, we had another 2 minutes to work.
That's what it's all about, those fleeting moments that you can never really predict. You just have to be there and react. I had 2 minutes maybe to work with that light. It's always how it is. It's so rare to get that type of light and fog in the forest because the sun, it just burns it off. I've only had these maybe 3 times here. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, let me have a quick look at these files with you. I've basically made a very quick selection of the ones that have potential. I'll talk about them. And these are unprocessed, but I will quickly lift up the exposure and the shadows just so you can get an indication of what's going on. Command A, they're all active now, and then I'll just lift the shadows, lift the exposure, pull the highlights down a little, and I might just do a landscape profile. Bang, that just gives us an indication now of what's in there. This frame here, what I'm looking for in the forest is something to fix the eye on, whether it's a main subject as a singular or subjects that, you know, you're looking for trees that stand out from the rest or a plant, and I want that to be in a harmonized part of the frame, so generally a balanced out composition. This one here, there is a lot happening, but I like that the eye really has these 2 main or 3 trees to fix on, and then it's kind of closed in by the rest of the chaos. A lot happening, but that's what the forest is, it's chaotic. So I don't mind that one, not to mention the little shaft of light that we have going through the frame. So potentially process that and keep it. Not sure yet, not sure on any of these, but for sure be keeping one of them. Most likely this one. I really like this large beech tree in the center of the frame, just standing out from the rest, not to mention the amazing light. And look at this characteristic tree, just twisted and curling, and that dappled light, absolutely incredible. Maybe I'd crop this one in slightly. 3 is a good number, it just keeps the eye moving around. This is a similar frame, but I've gone wider here and included some of the forest floor, as well as this larger beech tree on the left. You know, you compare those two, I think that is the stronger frame, but I do like this one. Maybe keep it 2, not sure yet. We've got the subjects here, but I think they're not distinct enough because how strong that light was. You can literally see the particles in the air getting lit up, but I feel like we're just losing a bit of clarity and definition, so I don't think that one's worth keeping. Probably the same for this one here too. Curious to see how black and white looks there. Same thing, it just doesn't really have that main anchor like these ones do, especially that one there. So that's what I'm looking for in the forest. Really tricky. You're working with the light in conjunction with trying to find the subject in an incredibly damp and tricky environment to work in. Like I said, don't mind that one either. Lots happening, but that kind of sums up what the forest actually is. Maybe you'd crop it in like that, 16 by 9. Brighten her up a little. Who knows? Lots of potential. Often in these, I like to rehaze slightly, reduce clarity a little, warm the highlights a touch. Definitely we'll hang on to that guy. Sorry I don't process these for the video. I can't work that quickly. I like to do what I've done here. Make some general selections. From there, sit on it. Then process a few that have that potential, like maybe these first 3. And then they'll sit in a draft folder for quite some time. And then eventually I'll put everything on my website, generally once or twice a year. So I can't really rush these for YouTube, but hopefully this gives you a good insight anyway. What a moment, what a blessing, what a gift that was. After this, we continued on for the sunset, and that was quite beautiful as well. So let's get back to that.
We're getting into the crux of the afternoon, getting closer to sunset. Got about an hour or so of light left, so it's going to get serious pretty quick. And this is what I was mentioning earlier about letting the cloud dictate which direction we face. If you look over there, for example, very clear, that's more or less the southwest. And then as we pan around, you can see how good that cloud is getting as we move on to the northwest and looking north, northeast even. So I'm just going to react now. I'm going to drive a little bit further up the valley, make an assessment, and then we're really going to buckle in where we want to face. Gonna head down to the river and then make our way up. There are some cascades down here which I spotted 6 months ago. Never really got the light, so hopefully this afternoon could be the time. Get the cascades in the foreground, looking up at the peaks. It's freezing up here. This is, we're getting close to 1,000 meters above sea level, so temperature's a lot lower than where we started earlier on. I'm gonna throw on a few extra layers. Ah, man, what a beautiful spot, eh? Look at that. So, sunset itself, the high cloud doesn't really get that light until the very last part of the day, that final 10 minutes really. So I've got a good 40 minutes now to just start scouting around, thinking about composition, thinking about the various elements that we might want to align. I know I want to get the peaks. We've got Mount Talbot this direction, and then we can go to Mount Crosscut there. I don't want to get the two in the one frame because the eye will get spread out too far, but there's two potential images we could create, two different comps, but it's all about finding the midground and the foreground. I'm going to spend that time now just looking around. I've got the waders on so I can go across the river if need be. Just making my way upstream. This is the composition which I've scouted in the past. Looking straight up to the mountain, absolutely beautiful. All the cascades rushing in. And then looking through the lens, which I've just got out now, on the 12mm. So this is why I have this lens. The 12mm just really allows me to fit everything in. Cascades in the front, you envision that with a slow shutter speed. And then we roll on through up to the mountain, even going vertical, potentially even better. You can see when I angle downwards how the mountain just gains a bit more height on there instead of being so flat in the center. But I'd probably move in a bit closer to those cascades. I wouldn't be so far back. So I'm gonna now make a mental checkpoint of this little spot and then keep scouting. And then when the light gets good, come back here. Wonderful frost here on top of this rock, and the rock is orange because of the lichens. There's a lot of these rocks in this area, but this specific one is just covered in amazing frost. Of course, I don't have the right lens, and this is exactly what I was mentioning about when you leave the bag behind, but just making the most at 24mm and really tight. I don't know if I'd obviously do anything with these images, but it's pretty fun anyway. Just trying to pick up, there's a few subtle lines in the orange, so I'm using that to try and balance out the frame. Looks just beautiful. It's been such a fun afternoon of shooting, so much diversity in the last few hours. Been working with the frost here on the rocks and the orange lichens as well. I've always admired the lichen on the rocks or the orange. I've never really found a way to photograph it, but I think the frost here has really given it something different. The orange is such a strong color and it doesn't work well with the green moss, but the frost has really cleaned things up. So there might be an image there potentially. We go from having almost too much time to now suddenly it feels like I'm in a rush and time's getting away from us. We got distracted by so many of these other little details in the landscape, which is a good thing. But now I'm eager to get back to our little spot and try to get some of that nice pink cloud that's building up. It's amazing how much that cloud has changed in the last half an hour or so. Oh, look at that. That's our light. This is our direction. We're just getting a tiny bit of light on the summit. And I tuck myself in for this little angle in here. And this is the one we looked at earlier. Gonna go 12mm ISO 100, and I want a bit of a slow shutter, about 1/5 of a second will be fine. And then we can just pick up a bit of a drag on our water, just cleaning up some of these stray grasses. Just glorious.
nice way to finish up the day. I love that little location there, and I have shot in that area before and never kept anything. And guess what? I'm not keeping anything on this one either. So I've just quickly pulled up the raw files here just to show you guys roughly the comp I'm looking for. Why am I not keeping it? It's just lacking the atmosphere. This is the challenging part of being a photographer, is you can pre-visualize the result you're after when it comes to the specific conditions, and you know, you can really envision the image. But if nature doesn't meet us halfway, then yes, sometimes we just work with what we've got and we're content. But in this case, and when it comes to local locations, you know, why settle? So in this case, I think, you know, a bit more atmosphere, just separating some of the trees back here. It may be some more directional light. By the time I started shooting here, I was getting that some very gentle light skimming the peaks, but I think some more light would have been nicer just to bring it to life. Otherwise, we're dealing with a very flat looking scene because the light is all behind us, very soft type of mid-tone feel in the image. It's not really getting that punchy highlight light, which I like. Think of those forest frames, for example, that we looked at earlier. Yeah, compositionally, I do like this general area here. I've tried these cascades. I thought today was going to be the day. I thought that sky was going to fire up and then that would put some light on the water and everything. Just didn't quite happen, but a beautiful afternoon nonetheless. Those frosty frames with the lichen, didn't bother even keeping any of those, or really worth sharing with you. You saw in the video roughly what I was doing. That is my workflow though. It's going out, it's having fun, it's scouting, I'm still shooting, I'm still loving the moment. It's when you get back here, you have time, let the emotion fade, and once the emotion's faded, you can curate your photography and pull out the best, and that's what I think you should be sharing. You don't need to share everything you're going out shooting all the time. Of course, it's different if you're a professional like me or you're just starting out, but I want you guys to just slow it down. Let's take our time, shoot in the field anyway. I don't think you should be a snob out there and say, nah, it's not happening. Use the camera anyway, get the repetitions up, familiarize yourself with the settings and handling the camera, capturing the data, the light, even do a bit of processing, but you don't always have to publish everything. Don't let social media or family or friends put any pressure on you. I think, you know, if this was a painting, you'd be taking your time. Let's do the same with our processing. All right, I think that's enough rambling from me. Thanks a lot for joining me out there. We had a few audio issues in this one, which we're trying to iron out. So apologies for that if it was a little bit quiet. We're working on it. In the meantime, I hope to see you in another video soon. Leave any questions or comments below. It means a lot, guys. Thanks.